Hi everyone, it's Nikki and welcome back to my channel. Or if you're new here, subscribe now. Anyway, today I'm going to create a spread for Momo while I rant about Dandadan. First of all, where the fuck does that goofy ass name come from? Anyway, this weird anime has both aliens and ghosts. And we follow Okarun and Momo, our two main characters, as they encounter and battle different aliens and ghosts to find Okarun's balls. I promise the anime is good and you all should check it out. Disclaimer though, the anime does have a few uncomfortable scenes depicting SA, so we'll get into that later. If you haven't watched Dandadan up to season 2, leave or mute the video because I'll be spoiling it, like all of it. I started watching Dandadan in April and when I say I binged that shit, I binged it. It was that good. The story begins with Momo kicking her ex-boyfriend for breaking up with her, then getting hit back. Momo, being pissed, goes back to her class and notices a boy nicknamed Okarun getting bullied. Momo, being the bad bitch that she is, defends Okarun. And then he starts harassing her about aliens. Cause bro doesn't know how to make friends apparently. They argue over aliens, whether they are real or not, while Momo voices out her beliefs to ghosts. So they dare each other to prove each other wrong. Unfortunately, however, they just proved each other right instead. Both of them get attacked by aliens and ghosts respectively. Fortunately though, Momo manages to defend herself from the aliens with the psychic powers that she just unlocked, while Okarun gets his pee-pee stolen by an evil spirit, a yokai named Turbo Granny. So now their mission is to get back Okarun's pee-pee while also possessed by Turbo Granny, and yeah, that's the premise and the beginning of their love story. I can't. Why am I describing this? Okay, hear me out. Dandadan is basically a romance anime disguised as a shonen, and it absolutely slaps. It's legitimately better than most rom-coms out there, which is fucking crazy. On paper, Okarun and Momo's romance should be annoying as hell. It's tropey, full of miscommunication, and packed with cliche moments. But for some fucking reason, it works. We've got Momo, who's too prideful to show affection or express her feelings properly, and Okarun, who's just painfully dense and has low self-esteem, that he thinks there's no way he just made a friend who actually cares about him and also doesn't know how to socialize. Then throw in a few love triangles or squares, I don't fucking know at this point, and you've cooked up a tropey ass romance anime. Like, there's literally a scene where Okarun accidentally falls on top of another girl. Momo sees it, and of course, she totally misinterprets it. Oh, and they accidentally kiss too. Like, oh my god. Normally, I'd roll my eyes so hard at stuff like that, but it works. What the fuck? Also, season 2 literally ends with an alien kissing Okarun in front of Momo. What the fuck? Dandadan somehow makes it work, and I don't know how. Like, actually, I do, and I'll get into that right now. It's not annoying. It's actually just funny and also endearing, at least for me. And I feel like a lot of people will agree with me on that. After that whole misunderstanding with the other girl, Aira by the way, Momo gets mad and refuses to listen to Okarun's explanation. Which feels grounded, because unlike other romance anime, they are properly portrayed as just teenagers. No more high schooler behavior. Not pretending they're adults or bullshit like that. Actual teen behavior. Then later in the episode, Okarun takes her hand, explains himself, and low-key confesses his feelings, and Momo actually listens. And that's progression. That's communication, bro. It would take 3 fucking episodes for a romance anime couple to fucking communicate, or worse, not communicate at all, but not Dandadan. What makes it even better is how Okarun, the shy and timid guy with low self-esteem, pushes himself to be honest with her because he cares. Bonus points for character development right there too. He doesn't want to lose her, not just as someone he likes, but as his first real friend too. And even when they argue, which they do a lot, it never feels forced or repetitive. Their banter just feels like 2 teenagers trying to figure out their feelings, and it's so refreshing to watch. I've never seen romance portrayed this well in a shonen anime before. Going to Dandadan, I had pretty high expectations, and honestly, I was worried Momo would end up being just another token love interest. That wasn't the case. A lot of shonen series completely drop the ball when it comes to romance, and especially when it comes to writing female characters. So seeing Momo have actual depth and great character writing is incredibly refreshing. And she's basically the main character too, which is wild. She's strong, stands up against injustice, and I absolutely love that about her. But she's also so strong-willed that she sometimes can't admit her real feelings, which I think is such a well-handled flaw that makes her feel real. As someone who loves both romance and shonen action anime, I can confidently say the romance in Dandadan ranks up there with some of the best. What I love most is that it doesn't try to force a typical will they won't they dynamic, cause come on, Ira ain't a real threat to their romance. She's ridiculously delusional, and Gigi is just, well, Gigi. They're not set up as love rivals. They're introduced to become friends with Momo and Okarun, which I think is such a great twist. Well, actually, I guess they are kind of love rivals at first, but yeah, especially with Gigi, his arrival makes Okarun start doubting himself again, only to realize that just because another guy looks cooler doesn't mean he's your rival or something. Well, I guess he was Momo's first crush, so yeah. It just means that this is another opportunity for Okarun to make more friends. And the fact that they do become friends in the end is honestly so wholesome. I do have to mention that Momo and Okarun constantly having to save each other is cute too. Okarun is the standard. Despite his painfully low self-esteem, he's such a green flag. I adore him. It's so endearing how he clings to Momo's friendship, yet when he finally gets his PP back, he tries to push her away. His lack of self-worth runs so deep that he genuinely believes that he should let Momo go because she's done helping him. And that broke my heart. He doesn't even realize how much she cares about him. He's still figuring out what a friendship even means. After all, he's never had friends before. He's timid, shy, and so convinced that no one would ever want to be close to him that if it weren't for Momo's persistence, he probably would have pushed her away successfully. But bro, his transformed persona is absolutely so funny. He's like, all his bottled up negativity just explodes outward, but somehow it makes him cool. He's confident, chill, and bold in ways his usual self isn't, yet he still maintains his self-loathing. The contrast is both funny and kind of fascinating. Oh, and the way he calls Momo by her first name, that's huge. If you watched enough anime, you know that's a big deal. Okarun proved that you don't need to have aura to have girls. Cause, yeah, I mean, I guess his transformed form kind of has a lot of aura, but still, I feel like it's just a bonus for his character. Momo, on the other hand, is strong and assertive, but not in that cliche, almost misogynistic, strong female character way. Her strength isn't just about throwing punches, it's in her mindset. When she beats up her ex in the first episode and ends up losing, that moment perfectly captures what makes her strong. She doesn't back down even when she's defeated. That's real strength, resilience, not invisibility. But that same strong will has its downsides, right? She's so prideful that she struggles to express her real feelings. Instead of opening up, she picks fights, especially with Okarun, and honestly, what's funnier is whenever we have those tender romantic moments between Okarun and Momo, most of the time it's Momo who initiated. Like, girl, just admit your feelings already. What I really love about Momo though is that despite her dominant, confident exterior, she knows when to drop the act. She has these rare vulnerable moments where she lets her emotions show, and it's so genuine and heartfelt. Like, Okarun was almost killed on that one episode in season 2, I don't remember which, and he tripped on her chest, right? He panicked and apologized, and yeah, Momo did not give a fuck. She was just so glad Okarun was alive that she just hugged him and started crying. Also, gotta appreciate the moment for not making it fanservice too. Let's all clap. Like, literally almost cried on that episode as well. Yeah, that balance between strength and softness is what makes her my absolute favorite character. It's why I'm making a spread for her right now. Oh, and her sense of fashion is also really cool. Not a lot of anime pay attention to fashion, so bonus points for that. It just adds another depth to her character. Anyway, moving on. I never thought I'd live to say this, but how is Momo's grandma such a body? Like, seriously, how old is she? Every time I see her, I'm just shocked that an old lady can radiate that much county energy. Also, can we all talk about how rare it is to actually see a parental figure doing their job in a shonen anime? Usually the parents are either dead, missing, or just conveniently never mentioned, but Seiko shows up. She's the one and only adult who actually parents, and it's so refreshing to see. On that note, Okarun's parents are so lenient to let him go to haunted places on his own and just sleep over at Momo's place like it's his second home, like that. Like, what? Anyway, even in shows where the parents are around, they rarely act like they care about their kids' safety or take any responsibility. But Seiko, she's mommy for a reason. Sorry, I mean, she's mommy. She looks after Momo and even the other kids, always stepping up when things go sideways. And when season 2 hits, she actually apologizes to them because as the adult, she feels responsible for not realizing how bad Seiji's situation was before he turned into half yokai. Like, that level of accountability from an anime adult, unheard of. Although I am a bit disappointed that she literally gave the very dangerous yokai inside Gigi to stay old because what the That's a long paragraph. Although I am a bit disappointed that she literally let the very dangerous yokai Isat Gigi to stay, all cause Gigi wanted to. Like any normal parent would call Gigi's request selfish and stupid, but oh well, I guess she just believes Gigi can grow to be able to handle Evil Eye. Of course, initially she was just doing everything she could to bring the old Gigi back, even rocking out to some hardcore music during one exorcism attempt. We even get to see Gigi's actual parents, which is wild considering how rare that is in this genre. Even Momo and Okarun's parents are nowhere to be found. Seiko more than fills that role perfectly. She grounds the story, reminding us that powers or not, these are still kids who need guidance, warmth, and care. She trains them, feeds them, like actually dinner at the end in almost every episode. She's just the perfect blend of badass and nurturing. And that's why I want to fuck her. I mean, I fucking love her. The most annoying character gets introduced only for us to end up falling in love with her. That should honestly be illegal. And now I'm talking about Aira. I don't know how Dandadan pulls it off, but somehow it makes the most overused tropes and seemingly unlikable characters and still makes them impossible to hate. Aira is a perfect example. We meet her and right away she's a spoiled, self-absorbed brat who thinks she's better than everyone else. Total delusional energy. But bro, the switch up was crazy. I think we all experienced it. We hated her on the first few episodes and then we loved her. The moment we see her backstory, losing her mom, her bond with acrobatic Silky, it hits hard. Suddenly, she's not just the annoying rival type. And then there's her growth. She admits she spread false rumors about Momo and even apologizes. Genuinely. She's kind of a lovable idiot, but in the best way possible. After confessing what she did, she loses all her friends and popularity, but Momo still reaches out to her. Somehow they talk things through and they end up as friends or allies or like chaotic partners. Either way, it works. Bringing Aira into the group adds this perfect mix of comedy and tension, not as a love rival but as a wild card that makes everyone shine more. Plus, her presence reinforces Okarun's feelings for Momo, because seriously, who's taking Aira seriously as a love interest? And honestly, it's hilarious how she seems more obsessed with Momo than Okarun himself. I really love her as acrobatic Silk as well. She pretends to be nice in front of Okarun, but the moment she slips up and becomes a total asshole, she blames acrobatic Silky who's inside her like, girl, it's so funny, I can't. Honestly, I don't know how the author does it, but he pulls another Aira with Gigi. And when I say that, I mean they introduce him as yet another love rival again. At first, Juicy comes off as super annoying, right? He's got that jock who would probably bully Okarun vibe. But no, the moment we get to know him better, he turns out to be an absolute sweetheart and a little silly, goofy teen boy. He's this tall, buff dude who totally stands out from their group, but instead of being a jerk, he's just a big, lovable idiot in the best way possible. How does this author manage to cram so many cliches into one series and still make it this good? Gigi's kind of immature, but it totally fits his age and personality. I do low-key think his pretty face saves him from coming off as a total idiot sometimes, but hey, it works for him. That said, I do have one complaint. Gigi's empathy, which is usually one of his best traits, almost gets everyone killed. In the latest season, he refuses to let go of Evil Eye, right? And yeah, I get it. Evil Eye is technically a child yokai, but he's still insanely dangerous. Even Grandma Seiko, who should know better, almost sides with Gigi on that. Still, I have to give Gigi credit. The way he's so determined to keep Evil Eye at bay so as to not get exorcised, that's pure dedication. The boy deserves another applause for that. Like, seriously. I don't have a strong opinion for Sakata yet since he was introduced much later in season 2. I feel like he's going to be another fun addition to the group, and I've heard from manga readers that will definitely love Sakata, so I'm looking forward to that. So far though, I do like him. He's like another version of Okarun, but instead he's desperately trying to make people like him, which is kinda sad. On a more serious note, we need to talk about the essay elements in Dandadan. And honestly, I'm bringing this up because I love the series, which is exactly why I wish I'd handled this aspect better. The constant nudity in the show doesn't really strike me as fan service. For the most part, it feels like a comedic device, the kind of absurd humor Dandadan is known for, and it doesn't come across as overtly sexualized the way other fanservice heavy anime do. So that gets a pass from me. I do have to mention that Granny Seiko is an obvious fanservice character, and a huge but, the essay scenes are kind of unnecessary. And it's not fanservice like a lot of weird people point out. Like, I'm sorry, if you thought that scene on the first episode was for fanservice, you're fucking disgusting. Like, oh my god. Once might have been tolerable for shock value or story impact, but twice? And then the first season ends with that implied to be a gang grape. That left a really bad taste in my mouth. Some people have compared Dandadan to Mushoku Tensei, which I'm like, are you for real? The fuck? They're nothing alike? Like in Mushoku Tensei, if you didn't know, the main character is a middle-aged man reincarnated into a fantasy world. And he's genuinely perverted in the most uncomfortable way possible. He constantly objectifies and even crosses the line with women, including minors. It's honestly hard to stomach. I expected that his rebirth story would be about growth and redemption, like a loser getting a second chance at life, and it is about that. But I guess his prejudice against women isn't worth overcoming. Great. Unless future seasons show him actually reflecting on that and changing that behavior, I'm not touching season 2. Dandadan, on the other hand, doesn't handle things perfectly, but it doesn't go nearly as far. I feel like uncomfortable scenes are part of the story in a way, like they tie into deeper like characters, especially Okaron losing their bodily autonomy, Turbo Granny's tragic backstory. Turbo Granny, initially introduced as a villain, turns out to be protecting girls who were murdered or possibly essayed. It's heavily implied, even if it's not stated outright. I've also seen people discuss how Dandadan reflects the struggles the woman face in Japan, and I can definitely see that interpretation. And Momo literally overcomes that struggle when she gets her psychic powers. While the essay elements are upsetting, at least they're not glorified. You know, they're meant to feel uncomfortable, and I think that's intentional. So it's fine if you're not comfortable watching those kind of stuff. I wouldn't recommend it to someone who'd get triggered, you know? Still, I wish those moments were followed by more character development, like seeing Momo process her trauma instead of just moving on as if nothing happened. When scenes like that exist purely for shock value and doesn't lead anywhere emotionally or narratively, they lose their purpose. I'm not excusing it, but I don't think Dandadan deserves to be lumped in with shows that actively sexualize or glorify assault. And please, can we stop calling that fan service? Most of the time, it's just sexualization of minors or the degradation of women, and there's nothing fan service about that, unless you're like an incel or something. So yeah, for you, it is fan service. In conclusion, Dandadan is basically a JoJo's reference. Okay, I'm kidding, but seriously, it's so wild and unpredictable. It gives me that same chaotic joy all over again, and I love that. It's ridiculous, over the top, and funny, and somehow still emotional. People say episode 7 is where the tears start, but for me, things got real when Ira died. Their reactions were so raw and human. It hit me that these are just kids witnessing death for the first time. And that level of realism is so rare in anime. What I love most is how human everyone feels. Gigi, Ira, Okaron, Momo, they're not just archetypes or comic relief. Ira is delusional and egotistical, but very empathetic when it comes to it. Gigi's goofiness hides fear and exhaustion. They're flawed, real, and easy to care about. Anyway, that's my rant. Dandadan is weird, emotional, and just beautifully unhinged, and that's why I adore it. I'm pretty proud of how this Momo spread turned out. The contrast between the green and the pink colors, I really love. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you all next time. Bye bye!